Okay, let's have another go. Let's see if we have sound this time. Oh, we do! Pog! Okay. Okay, we're back. This is Portal 2. For this time, I swear I'm not talking alone by myself. I'm joined with DaFatman and Cass. Hello, guys. Take it away.
Yes,
Hey,
hello, hello. Alright, so this is Portal 2. Because this is a source game, as tradition, we're going to be recording demos. I've just called it Hackathon Portal 2, because why not? I'm going to unpause to start, but the timer doesn't start yet. I will try to count you down, but I might be off. 3, 2, 1, now. I I got that really well. That was actually
yep.
kind of shocking how well that timing was. Alright, so an issue
5
with
minutes of
commentary
cuts.
here. Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, you basically summed up what I was going to say. There's going to be an issue with commentary here for the next 5 minutes just because we start with a little cutscene. It's technically not a cutscene in a literal sense because you
Yeah.
are still doing stuff during it, but it's so minimal. So to talk a little bit about the category we will be doing, you'll notice that it's not called anything like any percent or anything traditional like that. It's actually called No SLA, and there's kind of a good reason for that, because for most of the speedrun's history, the main category has been SS, or single segment, which means you can't save load, and you complete the run in one playthrough. I believe I might be wrong about this, but I believe the reason that was the case was because of Speed Demo's archive, and we were one of the few communities who didn't evolve past SS and start allowing save loading for the longest time. However, very recently, in January of this year, we started to actually change a bunch of rules with the game, and one of them was to make the main category No SLA. No SLA, it stands for No Save Load Abuse. It's basically SS, single segment, but you can save and load. It prevents you from actually doing anything with the save load other than loading a save, but you can actually do it, and that made, in my opinion, that made the game a lot more enjoyable this speed run, at least in the full game sense.
It does also make it possible for people to go for harder strats and then reset. So runs in general are a bit more exciting.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, there's a few strats that, while people have done them, I certainly wouldn't have done it. And I wouldn't have done it in this marathon if it wasn't for the fact that save loading was allowed. And I think because of that, and the fact that a tournament for Portal 2 actually started this year, I believe it might have died down now, but a couple months ago we were at pretty much peak single segment. I was never around when it was more active than it was. New people who were playing challenge mode, which is the IL section of the game, they came in, they crushed times, old runners crushed times.
I think your audio cut.
My audio did cut. I don't know what just something. Ooh,
Happens to the best of them.
is the lag on my end? Because for some reason,
And whose fault do you think it's going to be when the management comes down here and finds 10,000 flipping vegetables?
I'm gonna hope for chat reaction to actually let me know what's going on.
Into the latter.
Wow.
Listen, we should get our story straight, alright? If anyone asks, and no one's going to ask, don't worry. If
Huh.
anyone asks, tell them as far as you know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're dropping a lot of frames, Fatman.
I don't know what causes that stuff, because it says I dropped 0.
Okay.
It just, wait, did it? Don't tell me it's...
You were also lagging a bit on voice earlier.
Yeah, I was. I mean, when it says I have 0 frame drops, I literally don't know what it is. and it's really stupid that sometimes it doesn't register frame drops when I'm clearly am dropping frames. I think my computer might be acting up. I don't know, because OBS is actually lagging. Like, the literal interface of OBS is lagging.
Yeah, that's how it, because then you wouldn't be lagging on Discord as well.
It's either my internet or that. I don't know. We had a tornado warning yesterday. That might play a role here.
And again, welcome to the Aperture Science Enrichment Center. We are currently experiencing technical difficulties due to circumstances.
Means my CPU is strained. It says it's... I mean, actually, that could be it. Probably it, actually.
So is your game lagging?
I think it just stabilized. Which is actually annoying, because I'm pretty sure it's just because Containeride is so big. Because, like, the instant that ended, the stream stabilized. That's kind of... Alright, but we're done with the... Okay, we're done with the cheap... We're done with the dumb section of the map. Now we can actually play the game. This map's pretty straightforward. Now, something you're going to notice is that dialogue is extremely important in this game. Because in skipping dialogue or timing dialogue in a certain way, you can do very important things relating to the elevators at the end of levels, because the elevators, the way they finish is pretty much entirely based on where you are in the elevator and where the dialogue is. Talk about that briefly. Pretty much the most elevators in the game, I don't think all of them do. I think most of them do, though. They have checkpoints where they actually check if dialogue is playing, and if dialogue is not playing, the level fades. But it keeps going if that isn't the case. The reason I'm standing here is to time the dialogue to end right about when I hit a checkpoint. And in order to do that, I just blanked out for a second. And in doing that, I'm finishing the level as soon as possible. You'll see me do that a lot in this run.
There are a couple lot of elevators where you can't avoid it getting long, but right?
Yeah, sometimes you can lose up to like 30 seconds just on some dialogue. I don't think it ever happens in a run, but it can. Now this was interesting. This was actually a dialogue skip. I tried to have Wheatley talk over the announcer dude, so he didn't say 2 lines of dialogue. Here he's only saying 1 line of dialogue. That saves about 10 seconds on its own.
So you're still lagging from time to time, so you could try shutting stuff down in the background, or I don't know, but just to let you know.
You know what? I think I know what it is. I will tab out and try after this map. So here we clip the cube through the door. The reason we do that is because it activates a soft lock, which you can do in a much more conventional way than what I did. So that's almost certainly it. I still had the stream running in the background. Okay, we should be good now. I don't know why I forgot to pause it. Hopefully that makes everything good now. Because that's the only other severe thing that should be running. Alright.
Timer's not a thing, but not a massive issue. Or the timer on stream, not the...
Doesn't matter, it only took like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
that's
in-game
good.
timer, of course, is time in-game time, so...
You are not alone. All Aperture Science personality constructs
On that map, didn't talk about it because you're still talking about the lag thing. There are 2 kind of mechanics we use there. The first one is the portal stand. Because when you're in a portal and you shoot, the game actively tries to push you out of it. The portal stand is just us counteracting that and staying in the portal. You'll see it again here. And you also see me grab a cube as it's falling through a portal, which is the other neat thing. Although I think we're done doing that now.
Podcasting is the future. And the
Here we're gonna glitch this button by stepping on it and immediately off it. I think that's technically a scuffed exclamation, but that's basically what's happening.
Yep.
Tanger will complain about it, certainly.
I mean, I think a more detailed explanation is that you activate and deactivate a button on. I'm not sure if it's the same tick, but the timing for this game is in ticks. There's 60 ticks per second in single player. But if you do that, then the game will basically just give you the door open.
Yeah.
Or that was a sentence. Basically.
Yeah,
Give you the
yeah.
door open. Wow. Okay.
You good?
Flawless.
So this level has the first kind of big skip in the game, saves like 30 seconds, pretty substantial. The first thing we do is make sure that there's still a portal there, and to do that we go above the level. If we go through the portal, it gets removed, so going above the level avoids that. The second step is once we're back in this first room, we can actually snipe to the end of, not the end of the level, but this last part of the level. The rest is just walking. So if we have we fall through here. I grab it. It's perfect.
Plug me into that stick on the wall over there, yeah? And I'll show you something. You'll be impressed. Oh no.
And then the rest is just hopping.
No, thanks, we're good.
Now,
Pretty fortunate
another
that it
warning.
happens to fall through that portal, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of lucky that it happens. There's no really luck to it. It's very unlikely that he won't if you place your portal correctly. But the fact that it even comes close is just a miracle. A lot of things seem to just work out in this speed run. It's great.
If she's awake.
Now, unfortunately, we're about to go into another cutscene
Don't go into she's off. She's off.
after a bit of bunny hopping.
There she is.
Mm-hmm.
What a nasty.
However, the good news is...
Proper mate.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, still held.
The good news is that, coming up, after this cutscene, there's basically no cutscenes until we get to mid-game. So we can look forward to that. And in between that, there's a lot of interesting stuff. Interesting mechanics and tricks to do. Forward to that. Anyway, what did you want to say?
Oh, I was just asking if we need to explain bunny hopping.
Uh,
Can you see it anywhere? I can't see it anywhere.
now, I believe we're in a source block right now. I believe I think we're the first, actually, though, in the source block. Because I believe it's Portal 2, then Quake, and then Quake. Maybe it's not actually a source
Yeah.
slot. I mean, there's three source games in a row. I don't know if that's a block or if it's just 3 source games in a row, but
I mean, there's bunny hopping in Quake as well, so I mean, that does, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Source and Gold Source engine, yeah, they're related. Or sorry, Source, Gold Source, and
that was weird.
tech engines.
I've never
Engines, whatever.
I've never done that before. I didn't know I could just get stuck on the invisible wall here.
Yep.
Interesting.
We usually grab Hoopy for RNG manipulation.
Yeah, extremely important. You lose about an hour if you don't grab Hoopy.
Yep.
I'm gonna try this. It seems random. I don't actually know how to do it, but I can make Wheatley go through Hoopy if I do this just right. So I'm just...
You did what? Oh no!
Ooh, drunken shoes here.
Oh no! 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 No!
It's... The Hoopy dropped down right before Wheatley came by. Unfortunate. Nothing you can do about that.
I will say though that since you went to all the trouble of waking me up,
I think the introduction of GLaDOS was also kind of important for people who've played Portal. Yes, that is the same GLaDOS. We're gonna hang out with her for a while.
Yeah.
Great
They
character.
get a bit of a redesign.
A little bit.
First Portal game, just a little bit.
I don't remember how How long after Portal 1 does Portal 2 take place?
I think. I mean, it must not actually. Well, let's put. So it depends on how long we think she's been in the stasis chamber, because she was in the stasis chamber after. Yeah, and then it maxes out.
Point.
So could be 9,999 days, could be 99,000. Depending. But so it could be several years. I mean, that's what I would go with.
Yeah. You just saw me walk around the trigger. Basically, the trigger just makes it so I have to wait like 5 seconds before I can grab my portal gun. But it's really easy to just walk around it. That's why I just didn't go straight into that hallway. And the rest of this was just portaling.
After that, who knows?
Now we're on the quote-unquote fun section of the game. And I'm currently 3 seconds ahead of my PB, which is pretty good. I got sub 14, which is basically above average for me. This map's exciting, if I can get the trick. Oh no. Okay, so I didn't get it correctly. I kinda hit stuff on my as I was hopping. Not good. But as you can see, you can just skip that map. This map was actually supposed to be an introduction to lasers. And I'm totally stealing a joke here, but note that we do not use a laser yet. It'll actually be a decent amount, a couple of maps before we actually do. Yeah, it's Baster.
Okay. That joke isn't even that great, to be honest. But don't tell him I said that.
I don't know. The reason I have the reason I have a particular attachment to the joke is because at one point I intentionally used the lasers in both of these maps. I did not mean to go in that early. I'm having a little bit of too much fun. I think I need to concentrate a little bit. So we're going to start using the lasers now. An interesting glitch which we're going to be using is called the laser switch glitch. Basically, is there a problem?
No, I was just laughing at a funny variation of laser switch glitch. Contains an expletive.
Oh. So basically, okay. So basically for laser switch glitch, when you have a laser going in one way through a portal, and you reshoot your portal another way, for a small fraction of time, the game thinks that there's a laser going through two portals. Butchered explanation, but... And because of that, we can use that to activate stuff. Oh my god, I got that first try.
There are many instances of push up against the door, and if it's activated, even for a little bit of time, it'll just give it to you.
Yeah.
And that's to prevent you from getting crushed in the door when it closes immediately after, so...
Yeah.
Just abusing the game to our will.
I'm a little bit behind on commentary, which is kind of annoying. I think I need to catch up a little bit. So what you just saw in that last map, something called a reportal. I mentioned before that portals try to push you out when you shoot them while you're in them. We actually use that sometimes in order to get more speed. And in doing that, we got a fairly difficult circle jump reportal to cross the map without actually using the intended mechanic. And in this map that I just finished, nothing much is exciting, except you notice that I used the camera and put it on the button. For some reason, that activates dialogue. I don't remember if there's actually an explanation why, but it activates dialogue. And that lets us save some time, so we don't have to have no dialogue occurring while we get the cube.
I think the explanation that I've heard is that the button just checks for any object to be placed on it, not specifically a cube, before starting dialogue.
Yeah. It's a kind of difficult strafe there.
So sometimes there's still trash
The reason
standing around.
we do this, by the way, all that action, we technically could just not do it, but it basically guarantees that a ball lands on that button.
Remember before when I was talking
Because if you
about
just
some
trust it,
garbage
sometimes it
standing around
doesn't.
being useless? That was a metaphor.
And
And
this-
you wouldn't want to do that in Trustfully.
And I'm sorry.
Ooh, no, I didn't think it. Jeez. Also, this is a rare circumstance in the game where actually riding the whole elevator is faster than waiting for dialogue. Because at some point there's a bottom to this, and it fades whether or not there's dialogue playing.
Did you know that people with guilty consciences are more
That's kind of useful.
by loud noise?
And now the reportal that I mentioned before,
I'm sorry.
we're gonna do a lot of those.
Anyway, just an
In theory, we want to do 3, but I'm probably not gonna get that right. I got that right. Okay, this is a shockingly good run for a marathon. I'm not gonna lie.
so that test subjects
Even though I did lose a good amount of time.
This one is
Oh,
broken.
clarification
Don't
from
take
Drunken Shoe.
anything with
So the trigger on the button, there's a prop trigger, so it just checks for a prop. So similar to what I said, any object. Also, Drunken Shoe is a Portal 2 runner, or a former runner. He also ran
Former?
Call of Duty at one point. Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I don't think he runs anymore, but I recognize his name. I played one of his maps in a video I made, so he's forever immortalized in my mind.
You're gonna see in this map, you can just shoot below the level. It's shocking how recent that glitch was found. Not a glitch, but how recent it was found that you can just shoot under the fizzler like that.
Yeah, it was last year, and
Yeah.
I don't think anybody expected it.
This game's been out for like 8 years now,
Yep.
and only last year did we find that. It's really dumb. It saved like 3 seconds on, not 3, hold on. I actually don't know how much time it saved. I got both dialogues there.
Let's see. Well, it was like high 11. Yeah, it saved about a second, maybe a second and a half, because it was high 11. Yeah, actually, I could just, high
Like
11
a second and a half.
3. Yeah, second and a half.
There's a few things happening in this map, and again, I'm slightly behind because there's too much stuff happening early game. I hope my commentary laxes at some point. I did not mean to do that, by the way. The very first thing I did when I jumped on the first faith plate, and the reason I was kind of hesitant on it, also I'm messing up a lot. You can activate a trigger that's at the top of where the faith plate takes you. You can activate it 3 times in one fling, and that's what we're trying to do. And then the rest of the level's just going fast. I am still ahead of my PB. After all of this mess up, my PB is really bad in the early game. So this is kind of expected. But at the same time...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, Wilbur.
I was about to ask, like, if it's like Spitta, how bad he is in the early game, but very good in the late game.
Is Spitta actually like that?
Yeah, he's actually half the runner. He is about half the runner he is in the early game. It's a little absurd, actually.
That is actually really bad what just happened. Oh no.
Oh wow.
So let me just, so you saw I was trying to do a cool fling there. It's a really fun route, but I messed it up. And I actually technically soft locked. I didn't really, because, you know, I know technique, but if I didn't know any strats, that would be soft lock. It's kind of annoying. I thought I made it. I thought I boosted properly to make it to the end, but I didn't. And because I try too hard, I tend to throw the cube when I think I make it. So I just threw it at the end, so I couldn't do anything with it anymore.
These bridges are made from natural light that I pump in from the surface.
This is a straightforward map. These maps, the last two, not really this one and the next map, they're all really hard maps that come in like about the middle of the run. It's kind of annoying. A lot of runs die to these maps, This run technically died to this map, but I have to keep going because marathon.
Trying to help them.
So
Did you guess sharks? Because that's wrong. The correct answer is nobody.
hopefully we can do the next one fine to actually show something going well in this section. This is, in my opinion, actually maybe it's not the hardest. For a new runner, this one's definitely the hardest of the four, I would say, just because it requires a decent grasp of bunny hopping.
I'm going to laminate your skeleton.
So first of all, this door is supposed to close on us, but we go through it. And then we do a kind of obnoxious reportal. That was perfect. Let's go. Jeez.
Oh, there's lots of room here.
And there you have it. That was basically textbook right there. I could have done
Perfect.
hops in the middle of somewhere, could have saved a bit, but otherwise it was textbook. Really clean. And I'm really happy that happened. So now we relax a little bit. We actually get introduced to turrets. And we just kind of do a lot of portal shots. Oh god. Alright, I play that really poorly, so I'm going to play it safe. There's a lot of stuff you could do to make that last room faster. I wasn't able to do any of them, so that's that. But again, the speedrun levels out a little bit at this point. There is actually a hard one coming up relatively soon, although I wouldn't call it hard, I'd call it more random. We'll talk about that when we get there, because I have a little bit too much to say about it, because I have a personal bias towards it. But, you know, whatever. This map's super straightforward. The reason I actually dropped the cube there and have it pass through like that is because the only way the dialogue activates is if the cube is not in your hands.
It's a medical experiment.
So you just drop it to make sure the dialogue activates soon, early. And after that, we can take as long as we want with the, actually aligning it. Good.
That jumpsuit you're wearing looks stupid. That's not me talking. It's right here in your file. On other people, it looks fine. But right
Here, this is only used once. The turret actually boosts us forward. You'd think it would be useful in more places, but no, it's only really used here. As I said, real simple stuff here. I like the comment that I'm seeing here. I'm gonna play this safe, runs in front of a bunch of turrets. I mean, you do just kind of have to deal with the turrets at some point. It's just how it works. I mean, I don't think I was really in front of a lot of them. And the ones I wasn't in front of, I had a cube that blocked them. So really, I'm not that brave as a speedrunner. This map is almost strictly intended. There's a bit you can do, but it's challenge mode only. And I'm not capable. I don't think anyone is in a run setting. Yeah. And run the last map of Chapter 3. Another really simple one, although it's really easy to lose a lot of time here, just because the cube likes to bounce around. For some reason, I don't know. This is basically just intended, but we don't go on the bridges. Now, coming up, the first map of Chapter 4 is one of the latest big skips to be found. It saves about 30 seconds, I believe. And I actually found the setup for it, which is why I have a personal bias to it. But there's kind of a history to this skip. The skip is called I'm gonna call it both names. There's a bit of weirdness to the whole issue, but It's called either Jerry Skip or Dane Skip, depending on who you ask. Now, first of all, I'm going to grab this cube. Just in the air like that. It's a interesting thing. The reason it's called Jerry Skip is actually related to some dialogue that you skip. I actually need to kind of concentrate on the skip, so I can't really... You know what? I just realized the Discord overlay goes over Seal Showpause, so I couldn't really see. I don't know how to turn that off. That's kind of unfortunate. I have it though. Second try, not bad.
You go.
I'm pretty good. I usually get it within 3 times. You can just clip through that elevator, and for some reason, this is like one of the few elevators in the game that triggers on you passing through a trigger and not the elevator passing through a trigger. I don't know why necessarily, but it just works out. This map is pretty straightforward. Just let me know. I don't know, Cass, you want to talk about the history of Jerry/Dane Skip?
Not really.
Okay,
I mean,
that's understandable.
I mean, I suppose there's some interest. I mean, so the reason why Dane Skip was even a name for that is because during the speed gaming No SLA tournament, which is still going on, Dane, or as he was previously known, All Pro Games, did Jerry Skip first try without a setup, and some fans of his, people throughout the server, thought it was a good idea to call it Dane Skip, even though he wasn't the first person to do it. And yeah, actually, I think the meaning was that Dane was the first person to do it, but he wasn't. And it already had a name, so it's mostly just a meme, to be honest.
You saw there, I did another laser switch glitch, except you actually just do it with the cube. You just have the laser activate 3 receptacles at the same time. Not too bad. It just takes a bit of elbow grease, I guess.
Or, I mean, wrist grease, since, you know, you don't really... I mean,
we talked about this.
Yeah, we did talk about this briefly. Off-stream.
Off-stream, yes. I don't think we need to explain that one, though. We do... That's... What I just did there is kind of difficult, but not really. Kind of just go through where we're supposed to go much earlier than we normally would. By actually just walking through it. Well, not walking through it. Hopping into it. Then I waited for the doors to open, just hopped onto the catwalk, and continued on my way. This commentary feels kind of scuffed, I don't know.
A little.
This is just a hop map, pretty much. I mean, there's... Oh no, wait. Okay, I'm not dead. Good. I'm gonna try this. It probably isn't gonna work. Okay, it worked. I had to hop around an invisible wall there, which kind of makes that annoying. I'm glad it went well, though. Hop, hop, hop. Here we go. And that's chapter 4 done. Well, their basic chapter. I lost a good amount of time in that, just because I went slow. That's fine. Now, there's a couple things to note about this map. First of all, we go above here, above the catwalk, in order to skip a small cutscene. It's like 15 seconds or something. Which turns on Wheatley's light. So Wheatley will have a light here, normally. Now, that obviously means that this area is quite dark, because we don't have a light. And that's where this command comes in, Matte Ambient Light. it was also only allowed recently. It was one of the changes made along with the No SLA change. I severely messed up these cycles. That was not too delicious. But yeah, it makes this area a lot nicer to look at. Just because you don't have to struggle at all to actually see what you look at. Normally you can just see in these rooms without any sort of brightness. But I've noticed for some monitors that you just can't. And that's where I had my problems. I believe Goodigo had this problem. And yeah, it was almost universally agreed that it should just be allowed, especially because it was always allowed for challenge mode runs. Yeah. Someone asked, why do the graphics look bad? I partially blame that on matte ambient light. It kind of makes the colors a bit ugly, I think. I don't know. But, alright. I'm gonna turn that off, actually. It's not too dark anywhere for a while. Here, we're gonna do an interesting skip. It was found a couple years ago, I think, at this point. I don't remember exactly the dates. Actually, it was known about for a long while. It was used in challenge mode for a long time. However, only in that couple years ago did we actually find a setup for it. If you have 2 of these defective turrets, for some reason, you can do that. And you can use that to just skip a whole set of stuff. You skip the intended, you skip a bit of cutscene in there. Saves like 30 seconds about. It's always good. I don't know why they collide like that, especially since I don't believe you can do the same thing with a white turret. But, no, at least we can do it now. And I'm glad it's consistent. That was also a pretty solid turret sabotage. I didn't gold, but I saved a couple seconds. Pretty good. Turn off this again. I think now I'm gonna keep the ambient light command off. I might turn it on again in chapter 6, but I don't think I'll need it much more. This map is strictly cycles, so I have to be up kind of fast as a first step. I didn't be up fast enough to get a great cycle, but I'm getting a fine cycle, I guess. We're gonna actually do something dumb here. I forgot I actually do need matte ambient light on for this. You could shoot a portal through that door, and that allowed us to kill these tubes without us needing to be here to actually shoot them. And then the rest was just shooting the tubes with lasers. Well, interesting section. All right, now matte ambient light's turning off. Done with it. I just don't think it looks good. And I don't believe it's going to get too dark anymore in the near future. I can think of one map where it's going to get dark, and I might turn it on for that, but I don't think it's... Actually, it is kind of important. I mentioned before that cutscene territory, the cutscenes stop until mid-game. We're at mid-game now. So here's a cutscene. Coming up is a 5-minute map that's basically a cutscene. You do stuff, a good amount of stuff, but it's in between a lot of breaks. And then you get another cutscene. Kind of annoying. This one I definitely tolerate a lot more than the start ones. Just because when you're in the middle of the run, you're probably gonna no reset. So, it doesn't really matter. You can use it to take like a pee break or something. It's, to whoever does it. But the beginning one is just kind of annoying. Since we have a lot of free time here, we could talk a bit more about other stuff.
Really didn't think you'd fall for that.
So, that 5-minute cutscene at the start,
More elaborate
you can
trap
skip it.
for when you got through this
We don't
thing.
skip it for marathons just because
You let yourself get captured this
I don't think we're
easily.
mentally there yet, to be honest. I think maybe
From the ceiling.
a year from now we'll just be fine with skipping it in marathons,
Let's get to business.
and we'll just do it.
I hope you
But
got
for
something
now,
stronger than a portal gun this time.
we keep doing it.
Otherwise, I'm
That was a
afraid
that was a very controversial topic, actually, skipping that cutscene. Mainly because most of the community, a good majority of the community, wanted to do it and agreed that it should be allowed. But one of the moderators, I don't know, should I leave it unnamed or should I give a name? What do you think?
You should probably leave it unnamed.
All right. He basically enacted his own power and said no,
Sit in this room and glare
despite the majority of the community agreeing.
but I have a
Once he stopped playing for a couple of years, we decided that we just
if I were you,
ignore that opinion, especially since he was a minority opinion, and just started to do the skipping. It's a variable now. Also, I'm about to that was really good. I think that's a personal record for balancing Wheatley on my head. It's always fun. Gives you something to do while you're waiting.
Me they're talking about.
To initiate a core transfer, please deposit substitute core in receptacle.
torch
Substitute core accepted. Substitute core. Are you ready to start the procedure?
Yes.
Corrupted core.
As I said,
Are you ready to start the procedure?
good amount of waiting. I should actually get to the spot. Alright.
Procedure cannot continue. Unless a stalemate associate is present to press the
Coming up is another skip, though, in this map. This map isn't completely void of content. One of the biggest skips in the game, technically, coming in at
Oh, I didn't think of that.
2 or 2.5 minutes. I never know the exact number.
Saying that, or is it really gonna hurt? You're just saying that, aren't you?
Say it was more than 2 minutes. At least 2 minutes. It's a good amount. It's called Elevator Skip, or sometimes McPedro Glitch, another one of those weird dual naming things we apparently like to do. Which I kind of disagree with, but I guess it doesn't really matter, because the name's a name, so... It's extremely, shockingly straightforward. And the fact that they did such a bad job at making it not possible, it's kind of funny, now that I think about it.
Bloody massive, aren't I? Oh,
So basically,
pull it down. There we go.
get on top of the elevator, make sure you activate dialogue, and then you're done. I'm locked in here technically, but once I get up a little bit, I'm no longer locked in.
I don't even know what I just said, but I can find out. Oh, sorry.
So you're gonna miss a good amount, since you'll figure out what's happening in the next level. I'm just gonna say it. Our Lady GLaDOS is going to be turned into a potato.
Actually,
And also, Wheatley's not a very good person. Basically. I mean, I think a lot of people in their first playthroughs of the game didn't like Wheatley to begin with. I've heard a lot of very negative opinions about Wheatley as a character.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember, maybe not like a lot, but I've heard some negative thoughts. And not even like after considering that he's technically a bad guy, but just the mannerism people don't enjoy, it seems. Which I kind of get. Again, not much to do here. We're almost done. This is the last cutscene. There's a little mini cutscene at the start of the next map, but that ends quickly. Be nice to Wheatley. I mean, I'm fine with Wheatley. I don't mind him. You have any thoughts on Wheatley, Kess?
I think he's pretty funny. I like how his facial expressions are animated. because they obviously don't have much to work with. But I think, I mean,
Yeah,
I think he functions well as a character,
makes
but
sense.
and I think he's iconic within the game.
He serves his purpose well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think the voice acting from Stephen Merchant is really good though.
Yeah, it's good. I think it might just be an issue of humor. But anyway, now we're back to gameplay. We're in what is known as Old Aperture. Back where one particularly favorable character appears, which we'll talk about soon. I'm going to turn matte ambient light on again, just because... Did I make that? I did. Okay. Do a kind of long shot there, and you can't see anything without matte ambient light. For the longest time, that has not been much of an issue, because you can find setups. I just find it much easier to see what I'm doing. Someone could be a really good character without being liked. Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. I think a lot of the complaints that I heard were mostly just not liking more than not thinking is good character. Although I think I've heard a couple just bad character things. Because to be fair, I think being dumb is an important character trait. And some people might just not like... Some people might just think that the dumb was done dumbly, I guess.
You have such a way with words.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful. So this map, they have a couple of things going on. This is a very easy map to do poorly on, as you can see. I just did poorly on this map. First of all, there's a long shot we have to do, kind of precise. Most people just jump out to do the shot. I actually have a setup where I just stand, so I just do that. Although I do know how to do the jump too. The second thing we're gonna do is a scripted momentum and a reportal combined. To just fling really far right to the end. He already explained reportal. Kess, I think I'm willing to bet you have a better explanation of a scripted momentum than I do, because I'm horrible at it. So,
Well,
if you could...
basically, there are triggers in this game, brush entities, that are used to either set your velocity or try to get you to... Basically, they're triggers that try to get you to a certain place, no matter how far you fall. Or if you fall within a certain range, if you have a certain speed. And so you can abuse that using a reportal in order to get past the necessary speed threshold, so that it just flings you to whatever location. There's Crazy House actually doing a video on this, so I saw the script that he was doing. So that's part of the reason why actually I have a better idea of what that is. But it's different for pretty much every trigger. But there are a number of trigger catapults. That's what they're called. That you can use. That you can abuse rather.
My game is... I don't know if it's my mouse or my game, but something's lagging a little bit, and it's not good for my B-hops. I don't think it's ruined me yet, but I'm mildly concerned. Hopefully, that's not much of an issue. I went in a bit later than I wanted to. That map, I wouldn't say there's anything that's technically difficult about it. Repulsion Intro, I'd say, is one of the strongest maps for just losing time from being slow. Because I hate that map completely. But, nothing you can do about that. This map is pretty straightforward. This is very close to... I'd say this is pretty close to intended. Wait real quick. You're gonna notice that I focus a lot less on actually waiting for elevators in these chapters 6 and 7. I think that's just because there's less of them. because dialogue ends earlier. Great, no, I do a couple times, but not too much. This map I enjoy kind of a bit. There's first of all, there's a long shot that we do by getting on this loudspeaker. I don't even know the word. I'm kind of dim.
Loudspeakers, I mean, I suppose it's accurate enough.
Yeah. Then we're gonna break this glass with our head. I don't know why we can do that, but we can do that. And then we're gonna do nice fling, get to the end. To do that fling, actually, I think technically you don't need it, but it's really helpful to have a command turned off. Command SV player funnel into portals. Basically, it just means that if it's enabled, then when you're falling into a portal, it kind of guides you into it and locks you if you're like going straight into it. So like, because of that, when you go through a portal with it on, you're going through it going straight through it, and we want to have horizontal momentum when we go through it, so we turn it off. Here's a portal helper abuse. You see, we can just shoot through that wall just by shooting the wall next to it. I don't know how that didn't press. And then one more thing, a lot of stuff happening that all I think warrants explanation. Here we're gonna do a skip, very easy skip to just go over the whole sign here, and thus we skip grabbing Potato GLaDOS or Potatoes. You'll see him, her. I just called it him. My mistake. You'll see her on our portal gun right now as we go into Chapter 7. And first map. This is actually a very interesting chapter, I think. First map, really long shot, followed by a re-portal, if I could get it. Please! Almost. Unfortunate. It seems whenever I do a run, I always have an issue with this map. It's not too bad in practice, but in a run, it just always messes with me. That re-portal is not too easy. The reason it's kind of annoying is just because you need to be falling into the portal, which is kind of dumb to set up. Kind of hard. Not a fan. Next map, this has a very interesting glitch. I believe it was found a month and a half ago. Because I do a route basically no one else does. I think I only know 2 other people who do it. God. So, for some reason, this is what's known as a super reportal, except done in single segment. Basically, it's just doing a reportal over and over again by being stuck in the portal. So we just continue to build speed until we have what we need. In this case, I went to 1600. I have literally no idea why you get stuck when you do that, but I'm pretty sure that works on almost any wall. And unfortunately, this is the only map where I've found a use for it, or we found a use for it. Pretty good. This map's a bit more straightforward than the previous ones were. Just a bit got a bit of a hop here, then we just have to b-hop into an elevator. Just basic stuff. Well, forgot to change my bind, that was a mistake. To do that super reportal, I actually rebind a portal shooting to scroll I forgot to undo that action. So I just kind of didn't press the button. A little bit slowly. How did you actually get stuck on that wall, though? I'm actually confused. I don't actually know the reason why that works. Not sure if anyone does. I don't usually mess that up. Oh god. Alright. Back up done just fine. So yeah, I don't actually know how you get stuck there. As far as I know, you can do that on any wall. But I don't know what's happening to cause that. Just know that happens. I am well behind. It's looking like I'm going to be behind estimate. Less than a minute behind estimate, but actually, you know what? I'm going to be well over because we had an audio problem. Now that I think about it. So we were doomed from the start. Now that I think about it. But that's not a big deal. I mean, 5 minutes is not a lot for what's been happening in this marathon thus far. Not to be toxic or anything. I missed. Oh no, that's not good. Do that again. Alright, that's not good. This isn't the worst thing that's ever happened to me in this map. This map's just... I don't know what to say. I guess I should actually talk about the glitch that I'm using there. We're tricking the game into thinking we're falling when we're actually not. And through that, we're just continually building speed up to the cap, which is like 3,500 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just convert that into upwards momentum using the gel. We actually do that. This is pretty much the only map that we do it. A couple people do it on another map. But only a couple people, because it's really hard and only saves like 7 seconds. Here we go. Going up. Nice, perfect. That one worked way better than the first one did. Then again, the only real issue was that, I didn't hit the shot. Kind of annoying. Front's not going terribly well, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of expected this, but I don't know. It doesn't really help that I'm not entirely used to talking this much while I'm doing runs, despite the fact that this is probably like the 5th marathon I've done. It's hard to get used to.
For God's sake, your boxes with legs. It's literally your only purpose. Walking onto buttons. How can you not do the one warmer?
We are now reaching the tail end sections of the speedrun. Starting here is what I'd say is the last hard big trick in the game. Simply dubbed cube throw. We need to throw that cube onto that button. Pretty much, when you place a cube on this button, a panel opens up in front of the door so you can't go through. But if you're at the door while the cube lands on the button, then you can just go through. As you can see, I did that. Second try. Not bad. That's usually how quickly I get it. Not terrible. And then the rest of this is completing his test. No real way to skip his tests.
Yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't really think there's much you can do, but maybe. Maybe if this were like a couple maps later, because we're about to be
Tests. Gotta be some tests around here somewhere.
introduced to one of the more broken mechanics of the game, which we're going to use quite liberally throughout the rest of this run. And that is Excursion Funnel Fly Glitch. Excursion Funnel Glitch.
Yep.
I don't think there's a universal name for it.
So either crossfly glitch or excursion funnel glitch.
It's alright. Everything's good. I just invented
Basically, crouch in a funnel, uncrouch in a funnel, and you can literally fly. I believe this was, people always talk about the lore when we get to it. I believe this was found on day 1. On the first day that the game was released, they found this glitch. I hear that all the time. I don't really know if it's true, but I keep hearing it. So let's keep going. So yeah, we're going to use it a lot. Another interesting mechanic of it is that you can preserve it through maps,
smaller tests that I found lying around. Jammed them all together.
And
which
save loads.
proves extremely important. And save loads, but... Oh, what did the cube just do? Okay, that was weird. These cubes act very weird sometimes. And you use it sometimes, not in normal runs, but in challenge mode runs. Use the fact that those turrets are those cubes are really messed up sometimes. So yeah, kind of a gray area with the whole fact that you can preserve a save load. I am so bad at speaking. Preserving a fly when you save load is that technically counts as a save load abuse, and if you do something that would normally cancel it, if you didn't save load, then it's a save load abuse. Our decided resolution to that is just, as long as you don't get the cube throw. Hold on. Second try, I'll take it. As long as when you save load, you don't do anything that would normally cancel your funnel fly, then you're fine. The things that can cancel your funnel fly, if you're on the same map that if you're on the same map that you got the funnel fly on, you can either remove the funnel, or you can change your crouch state. Both of those will just cancel your fly. If you save load or go into a new map, which effectively disconnects you from that funnel, the only way you can get rid of funnel fly is to go into a new funnel. As you saw, I just did that there to get rid of my fly. And now we're going to take a quick break from funnel fly to shoot portals on grates like that, and to almost get a really sick cube throw. Unfortunate. I usually get that. Run's not invalid. Haven't done breaking yet. You can do it in the game normally, because devs are really smart. And they did a really good job. This map is pretty straightforward. Grab the cube as it's flying, and then just place it on the button. The cube very occasionally just walks off the button because, as I mentioned, it's a weird turret. And these particular, I keep calling them turrets. The problem is that I believe the term we use for them are Franken turrets.
Yep.
And that's a problem because I'm just calling them turrets when they're not turrets, they're cubes.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
really throwing me off here. Oh, we're gonna get another fly here.
I mean, technically they are turrets, but they're also cubes.
That is true, but it's misleading. Same time. I really don't know.
I mean, I suppose one would concede that their primary function is as a cube rather than as a turret.
Yes, that's true. Oh, what it is? Because like when I'm just talking, I'm usually fine. And when I'm playing, I'm usually fine. But somehow doing both at the same time just completely ruins me. On both fronts. Because I'm not playing well at all right now. I mean, this isn't the worst that could happen. Nothing too explosively horrible has happened yet. But it could. And a lot of maps have still gone pretty poorly. And I'm about 2 minutes behind my PB. I guess literally speaking isn't too bad because it's an hour-long speedrun, but I'd like to be closer.
Understandably.
This map, there's another fly to the end map. Very straightforward. You'll see though that I kind of wait at the end for a funnel. That's for dialogue purposes. If you're fast enough, it doesn't matter. But unfortunately, I am not fast enough. So I just grab the dialogue. Just to be fast. To do it, you just have to have a funnel here and be next to it.
You two are gonna love this big surprise. In fact, you might say you're going to love it to death.
It's perfect. Very good.
Until it kills you.
Show me the milkers. I, for one, am enjoying this run. That's good. Hopefully my apparent speech impediment doesn't detract from anything of this run. Because I do think this speedrun is pretty good overall. I used to hate it, and I think that's partly because save loading was banned. But I'm definitely enjoying it a lot in 2019 than I did in 2018. Certainly. That's also probably why I've improved a lot this year in this game. I used to be stuck at a time of 106 in game time. And this one should beat that. Basically. I don't actually know that for a fact. Let me actually... I'm currently on a... Oh, I messed up that dialogue completely. I'm currently on a mid 105 right now. Not a terrible run. Again, I'd wish I'd be doing better. So we're on the last maps where we use fly. And we use fly a lot in these maps. Chapter 9 is just completely broken. It's kind of interesting because with a lot of what happens, you'd think that it was almost made for us to do this, just because of how well everything just comes together to let us do this. I mean, this is kind of just obvious. You can just kind of fly through the level. The reason the wall that I passed through kind of looked over that fact, it's not solid because it's supposed to break if you actually do the map intended. Unfortunately, we did not do it intended, so you didn't get to see that. But as you can see, like even small stuff like this, for example, the fact that that slopes down is, I'm pretty sure, the only reason that we can even do that. Go down here. And if we couldn't do that, then this just wouldn't be a route at all. We'd have to not have fly. Very convenient. That was a pretty good, Oh, that's not good. I don't like that. Okay. My current state is not horrible, but I'd like to be in a different one. Shouldn't matter too much.
State as in like state of being, or
my height's kind of bad. I don't like my height.
okay.
Use this stair to fall down. I completely messed that up. Oh god. Did I save, actually? I'm not sure if I did. I did, okay. Let's see how many attempts this takes. I'm so bad at it, I actually have no idea why I started doing it. To be quite frank. I just feel like in my current time in the game, I should just do it out of obligation. This is hard. We kind of just... All those turrets were going to shoot us. We had to fly past them. I'm glad I got it first try. I'm pretty happy about that. Second last map. This is very well abused in with Funnel Fly. We're just gonna go through. This is pretty straightforward. Skip this whole conveyor section. Whoops. Continue to fly forward. And if we rode this funnel, it would take about a minute. So we're just gonna float past it. Because we can just keep building speed outside of a funnel. In a funnel, we're at a set speed. You don't really see that because we don't really do that anywhere. And now we're on the last map. I'm going to assess my pace. I'm on an early 105 currently. Not too bad. In terms of the RTA time, we might be below estimate. Or actually, technically, we'd be below the estimate of the run, but we'd be above estimate because of the audio issue. So, I guess, not too shabby. Last map. Wheatley, boss man, is gonna try to kill us. We're gonna try to not do that. Yeah, entering funnels cancels fly. If you preserve it, that happens. It's slightly different if you don't preserve it. And you just get it in a map. Because you can still go in a funnel that you got a fly off of. And keep your fly. Now, there's a couple of tricks that you can do in this map. The first one I'm going to try, there's a good chance it'll ruin me, is Bomb Preserve. Basically, Wheatley throws several bombs at us at a time. We only need one to hurt him. We're going to save the rest. And because of the way I play, I'm only going to preserve one because I don't know how to do both. You can preserve two and use them both times, but I can't do that. So that's probably going to hurt a lot. Once we place the cube on that, the real reason this is kind of an issue is that there's something called bad ending. I'm going to hope I don't get it. That. So he keeps shooting... He keeps shooting his stuff, despite the fact that we already heard him. And that's really bad, because that counts as a soft... Kind of counts as a soft... It counts as not... having the game not be completed. So the run wouldn't count if we died in the end cutscene. You can technically avoid dying in the end cutscene. But I don't know the timing, and I don't want to bother with that right now. Especially since Bomb Preserve should just work. It works fine if I can get that first core in relatively quickly. But I messed up. Which is unfortunate. Now he's been shot completely. Need to grab our last core. Could have talked a bit about the cores. I messed up. Oh god. Space core. Just wants to go to space. What was the other core? What's the second
Fact
core called?
core. There's the adventure core. Which is
Adventure
my
core. Yes, yes, yes.
Rick.
Rick. Yeah, your favorite. I remember that information.
Interpreting vague answer as yes.
Tries to hit on us. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Stalemate detected.
And there's the fact core.
Resolution annex. Extinguishing.
So, last trick that we're going to do in the run. And I will have to pay attention, whoever's running the timer.
Please press the stalemate.
Because I'll say when it ends, you won't know. So that didn't work. I'm going to keep trying it. Basically, first of all, you can just, for some reason, shoot a portal and have it stay. If you're crazy enough. Now, the second thing is that you can shoot the moon. You're shooting the moon here. You could shoot it in the first room if your angle's good enough. Time. That's it. Sorry about that. That was kind of probably loud. We shot the moon early. And that's that.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe what the glitch is called. Early moonshot.
It's moonshot. Wow. It should be good. I think
I already fixed it.
I said time, Sajiki.
Oh, you did. I didn't hear.
I
paid
am
close
sorry.
But,
I've realized. Sorry about that. It was above estimate anyway. It
attention.
doesn't
I think
matter.
you said that's it, and I was like,
No, I did say time. I believe.
Yeah, you
Okay,
said
well,
time.
yeah, then the chat is saying that was a 1:15:30, so 30 seconds over estimate. You're
Job.
banned from future events, just like everybody
Yep.
else.
Hey, listen. It cancels out. I was a minute ahead of estimate on my last run. It balances out.
No,
We're
it
good.
was a good run. I mean,
Thank
if
you.
you were so close.
God, you're all
I should have made my estimate longer, but yeah, that's that.
So I just want to take a quick second to shout out Half-Life 2, which is going to happen later.